Hey everyone. So today I want to talk about the shooting in Orlando that happened this past weekend, early Sunday morning, that killed 50 people or more and injured roughly the same number. Like most instances like this, people like to latch onto it and use it to support whatever policy or ideology that they happen to subscribe to. And I'm not bashing ideology here. I am an ideologue. I have strongly held beliefs that are, for the most part, impervious to argument. But I have something I'd like to say in response to the two sides that seem to be arguing the loudest. One, obviously, is the gun control side, the people that want to either limit or outright ban firearms or assault weapons, whatever that means. I fear that most of them could not describe exactly what an assault weapon is. And then you have people who are using this to support anti-immigration policies and barring Muslims from entering the country, since this mass shooting was conducted by a Muslim and against homosexuals, since Pulse, the club that was shot up, is a gay club. So I would like to say a few points to hopefully bring some clarity to both sides of this argument. So the same people that make the argument for gun control will often argue against immigration control or barring of Muslims from entering the country. They'll say something like, well, the vast majority of Muslims are peaceful and they're coming here for the betterment of themselves and their family, and they just want to live their lives, which I agree with is true. But then they turn around and argue that we should limit people's access to firearms because a very, very fringe few number of people use them to hurt and kill others. I recently looked up the stats. Obviously, there's a lot of stats and armchair quarterbacking and Googling for stats like this. But someone tweeted out information saying that guns were involved in a little over 10,000 homicides in like 2014 or 15. Well, the same CDC report that they were citing, the paragraph below where it describes how many people die from firearms. Well, in total, the number of people that die from firearms is around 30, maybe a little higher. But the vast majority of them, 60 to 70%, are from suicide. And so that is perhaps a whole other argument or discussion to be had, but only 10,000, a little more than 10,000 people are murdered by firearms. And in the paragraph below that, it describes the number of people that die from falls. And that number is very close. It's around 30,000, maybe a little bit higher. So relatively speaking, guns are just as dangerous as gravity in the United States. And that's even being a little bit generous with the gun side, because that includes people that are hurting themselves because of, or killing themselves with weapons or firearms. There's almost a stronger argument to be made that guns should be controlled because people are killing themselves with them. But that obviously is not being used as an argument. And if we're going to be kind of utilitarian or data-driven on that subject, well, then they're arguing the lesser threat that firearms face to society. And of course, drunk driving and cars and alcohol kill way more people. I don't have the numbers on hand. I'll link it below. Hopefully, I'm correct. And then on the other side, of course, people that would support limiting immigration. Now, I believe that owning a firearm is a human right. It is, one, it's an inanimate object, and so I don't put it in a different category, from a computer or a car or a knife or a bat, other things that people use to murder each other. So, getting back to immigration, then people are saying that we should limit immigration, which I also believe in the freedom of movement of people, and I believe that that is a human right. If you are a peaceful individual and you wish to move from one country to another, you should be allowed to do so. There's one caveat to this. I do not support the movement of refugees from one country to another. This is based mostly on the libertarian idea that government shouldn't pull money from me and other people to do things that I don't want. And I don't believe that government moving individuals from one place to another is a human right. I don't think it's a legitimate function of government. But I support private support of refugees. That's completely legitimate. But government, it's not government's job to do that stuff. But okay, caveat, moving on. And right, immigration, I have read and come across information and sources that I respect saying that immigration on the whole is a net positive. Typically in Western countries, or at least now we're seeing a decline in birth rates, and immigration helps fill the gaps in a lot of that stuff. And also, by and large, immigrants are law-abiding, and they do pay taxes, at least as far as sales taxes and things of that nature. Of course, there is the argument that, well, we can't have a ton of immigrants and a welfare state, which is true. I would prefer to virtually knock out the welfare state, but I'm getting off point. So I would just ask the gun control people and the immigration control people to actually believe their own arguments. Guns don't kill people, people kill people. And the vast majority of guns and gun owners are law-abiding and never injure or kill anyone with their firearms. It's a very fringe element of mostly mentally ill people. And they should believe their own argument when it comes to immigrants. Immigrants, by and large, are peaceful, and there's only a small pool or portion of them that reach out and do bad stuff like this. And conversely, the pro-gun control people should believe their argument that immigrants, by and large, are peaceful, and they should also see that factually, just as immigrants are peaceful mostly, gun owners are peaceful vast majority of the time. And so the answer to this question is, let's treat violent crime like it is. Let our criminal justice infrastructure and courts and police do their jobs. Let's not fight over how to control each other and further, divide the country. We can all see and agree that it's become very heated when it comes to debating different issues and policies. So let's just agree to let people be peaceful, and those that aren't peaceful, then we intervene. We shouldn't be in the business, the government shouldn't be in the business of trying to prevent future crime. Oh, guns can be used for bad things, therefore we need to ban them. Inanimate objects are not responsible. It's the people involved. And for immigrants, immigration is not inherently bad. It's individuals that do bad things, so let's treat the individuals. So there you have it, a very reasonable, well thought out, logical argument from me, and if you disagree, you're a bigot, racist, homophobe, Islamophobe. Peace.